Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope this live finds you all well. As promised, I'm getting on today. I missed Friday. Busy week and weekend, but I'm excited and grateful for the opportunity to be on here this evening to kind of go back and recap some of the items that were shared on social media this week. A lot of conversation, a lot of comments, a lot of people coming out of the woodwork to share their perspectives. And I'm not offended at all by any form of communication at this point. When you've lived in my skin and walked in my shoes, nothing's, what is the word I want to use? New these days. There's a saying, there's nothing new under the sun, so it's expected. But what's good about it is that communication and, getting the opportunity to see people for who they are and how they feel and their mindset is very much essential and important in this election season. We don't want people to hide behind a mask. We don't want people to be comfortable. Our current United States of America is in disarray because people were either complacent, comfortable, or they didn't vote, or they did not consider the seriousness of electing someone like we did. Not we, I'm just saying in general, because I did not vote for him, but this is the results of what we're getting. We have hard-working men and women who need to take care of their families, working without pay. We have people that are on benefits and upwards of 40 million. I think that's what I saw. Children, elderly, disabled, single moms who are not getting the benefits that they need. We have Americans who are being deported and treated badly in this country. And just that alone is enough for all of us to make sure that we're registered to vote, that we're having meaningful conversations, and that we understand how serious this election season is. Local elections matter because they then contribute to what we get at the federal level. And so it's so important that we vote for a mayor, we vote for city council, we vote for school boards. We're voting for human beings, right? We're voting for people who care. Not because of political status, not because it's an ambition to become, a political person, but because they really genuinely care. And when decisions need to be made on behalf of other people, they're going to make decisions that reflect what's good and what's right, not an alignment with the party. And so I cannot stress that part enough. And, we're going to move on and go ahead and start off with some information that's very, very important. So our current election that we have going on is the special elections for public service commissioner. We currently have 2 people in there. We want them out. We want 2 new people in. And in order to get those two new people in, you all need to vote on November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th. And at this time, because early voting is over, you'll have to vote at your precinct, okay? Please take care of your vote on Tuesday. If you did not take advantage of early voting this past October time frame, ended on the 31st, which was Friday, please make time to vote on this Tuesday, November 4th, at your precinct, okay? And that is the special election for the Public Service Commissioner. We can't hurt to try something new. These people are saying that they realize and they recognize that the electric bills have been extremely high. Since 2022, they have went up. So let's try someone new. Let's give them an opportunity to bring these rates down, because currently who's in office has not been listening, and they're not connected to what's going on in America for all of us regular citizens here in America. So let's fix that. Now, moving on to our local elections, March 2nd through 6th is when everybody is required to qualify. So by March 6th, we will know specifically who's running for mayor, who's running for city council, who's running for school board. It is so important that you are taking this time. I'm excited that everybody that's thinking about running, wanting to run, has already started sharing their platform, already started sharing information so that we can vet them properly and we can get to know them and make informed voting decisions. Okay, this is not about, race. It's not about popularity. It's not about friendships. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about voting for a human being that has the experience, that will, in fact, get in that seat and also put people first. Okay? Now, this is my opinion, and this is my understanding. Anyone who supported or voted for the current situation that we're in right now, I have a problem with your decision making. And this was not as if this was his first time in the seat. We saw firsthand what he was capable of in his first election. So to then turn around and support this person again with 34 felony convictions and ensure that he got in the seat to run this country. And now we have people working without pay and citizens being deported and their families being broken apart. And we have also the shutdown, the government shut down. So federal funding and things that are supposed to get out to certain people are not getting out. Children are being affected by this. Our disabled people are being affected by this. Our elderly are being affected by this. You contributed to this. Your decision making contributed to this. And so I don't care about the fact that these positions locally are nonpartisan. It means a hill of beans to me, because a human being will sit in that seat. Whoever's elected will be a human being. And that human being has values. They have morals. They have a track record of how they vote and how they align party-wise. And those values will sit in that seat and contribute to what goes on locally in our city. And that needs to be considered. So when people ask you, you need to be honest and say which party you have aligned yourself with. You don't need to hide behind trying to get votes and trying to get money from both sides, because people are going to do their research. People are going to figure things out, and it's going to be exposed. We want genuine, real, authentic people who truly care about human beings in the city of Columbus in that seat, in any seat. Too often, we have seen people going along to get along, just totally not voting on behalf of their constituents, doing what they want to do once they get in that seat. And it's time out for that. And I'm just going to share this as well. We've had two businesses in District 3 who presented at the city council meeting. They stated they called, they emailed, they did not get any response. That is a going record for most of the council members, with the exception of District 4 on that council. That is the going rate. Good luck if you get a response back. If it's something that they don't agree with or may be conflicting, good luck, okay? Now, I will say this. That needs to be improved. As a city, we cannot allow our taxpayers to continue to support poor leadership, unprofessionalism. If it's your personal business, if it's your personal life, and if you don't want to return phone calls and if you don't want to return emails, that's great. That's fine. But when you petition the people to serve them, to elect you, to put you there, then you need to have systems in place that allows you to return phone calls and emails in a timely manner. There's no excuse for it. If you need 3 to 5 days, at least communicate. Hey, thank you for your email. I will get back with you within 3 to 5 days. Or make it a policy across the board that, hey, my office will get back with you between 3 to 5 business days. And that way you manage your time and you organize your life in a way that you can be effective and productive to citizens, but not answering emails, not answering phone calls, not returning phone calls, emails, and then waiting until somebody gets to city council because that's the last string is just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I'm going to say this as well. With an education background, we were required to respond to parents within 24 hours, right? That's generally professional time frame, 24 hours, okay? As an educator, you don't get to say, oh, well, do you know how many students I have? I have over 180 students. I don't have time to respond to a parent. You signed up for the job. You interviewed for the job. You were selected for the job. And therefore, you need to meet the demands of the job. You understood that you would have several students, multiple parents to manage and communicate with. So to get in the seat, to get the job, and then turn around and say what you don't have time to do or just refuse to be professional with it is, again, it's ridiculous and it's unacceptable, okay? Structure and procedures require you to, systems in place require you to send newsletters. Hey, this is what I'm working on this week. This is some of the complaints that I've received. This is the status. Newsletters of things that you as a district city council person are working on to let your citizens or your constituents know that you care. I got your email and I'm working on it, as opposed to nothing. And it was shared that, District 1 mentioned St. Mary's School was vacant. And why can't we use that for homelessness, right? He mentioned that in the city council meeting. Okay. October 14th, I followed up with him at the city council meeting with the council, period, to see was that just something that was said or is it actually being considered? Well, today I saw on social media that there's a parent who has a student who's doing virtual learning and the building is being used for that. So there's no way that it could be used for homelessness. So District 1, shooting from the hip, had no idea that the school was being used. So what does that infer for me? That he just said something just to say something, but didn't really want to follow up or make sure it was something that they could actually do to help homelessness in this city. And that's unacceptable. So crying and criminalizing, because he did in fact vote for it to be criminalized, but then not having any solutions or places for these people to go is unacceptable leadership. We did not vote people in for them to half step and not do their best and give us excellence, or just to say fluff or say things just to say it to sound good with no substance. It's time out for that. Okay, so early voting, I have no idea when it's going to be for our local elections, but we do know that March 2nd through the 6th is when they are required to qualify. March 6th, we will know specifically who's running for mayor, who's running for city council seats, who's running for school districts, I believe, as well. Okay, and election day will be actually on May 19th, 2026. Now, some key terms that I shared this week that I want to make sure we get in our spirit so we can recognize it when we see it, because there's a lot of social media posts and sharing going on with people running for different seats, right? Pandering. That's the first thing, pandering. Pandering is suddenly showing up, okay? Slogans like people over politics and unity for all, okay? We haven't seen these people nowhere before now. Now, all of a sudden, they're picking up trash. Now, all of a sudden, they're in specific churches and districts, you know, showing their faces and hanging out. However, we haven't seen them or known anything about them prior to now. That is considered pandering. Pandering. And you can find more information and examples on my page. The other one is strategic silence. This nonpartisan position stuff, right? All the seats in, you know, city council and the mayor are nonpartisan positions, okay? So that gives people who align with the red party or the blue party a smokescreen to hide behind and say, I'm for all people, okay? And that's good, and that's fine and dandy. But as voters, I want us to vet, I want us to do our research, and I want us to know who they are truly. Because who they are truly is what they are going to bring to that seat, okay? They're going to bring values and morals and alignment with that party to that seat that will then hurt our citizens locally if we don't pay attention to that and if we don't make sure we understand. People can say that, you know, I love everybody and I don't see color and, you know, everybody is equal. But if you've lived long enough on this earth, especially in Georgia, which is the second largest slave state in history, then we know better. We know better. And we don't give them a pass. No more passes. No more passes. No more pretty smiles. No more smiling and being that one African-American person in their picture. No more of that. They don't get a pass at all. We need to know who they are, what they bring to the table, and the consistency of their history and how they have shown up in the community. When you go to some of these people's pages, you don't see us. You see us when it's election time and they need to have a photo op, but you don't see us in their day-to-day life. And you need to pay attention to that. You don't see us until it's time for them to be invited somewhere to say, hey, I'm running for this or that. And that's unacceptable because that means that they're not for everybody. They're for certain people. They're answering to a certain person. And the last term that was important this week is marginalization. Okay? That is when someone is in leadership, they discredit community concerns because of who it's coming from. And they also allow neglect. Now, we've seen a lot of this in District 7. A lot of neglect and a lot of discrediting community concerns based on who it is and where it's coming from. So, for example, in District 7, I have been working for the past 2 years to get signs, to get help with the littering issue, the illegal dumping in the area. I was told that signs wouldn't work. Littering signs, they're not going to work. They're not going to do anything, okay? But sure enough, District 1 has signs recently put up that says there's a $1,000 fine for littering. So if it's good for District 1, why wasn't it good for District 7? Why? I don't understand that. But that's what's going on in this city. All the districts are not created equal. And we need people in those seats who care, who really care about the community, their entire district, to ensure that equality is within that district from top to bottom. Illegal dumping, trash, evictions with their debris all over the right-of-way, months and months and months before it's picked up. Now, of course, it's election season. As I drive through here, I see things that are finally being taken care of. And that may be because there's other people who are running for a seat that's actually complaining or actually saying something that's causing this stuff to be taken care of. But for the past 3 years, with District 7 in the seat, she has not cared enough to make sure that all of her district was a reflection of excellence, a reflection of care. There's no way that our children should be walking to school with trash all over the place and high grass all over the place. Because what does that communicate to them? That we don't care. That our self-esteem and self-worth is not anything, worth anything in this community. And if you cannot lead effectively in District 7, you definitely cannot be the mayor of our city. And that's just period. And that's common sense. That's not personal. That's not anything. That's common sense. All right? So, another thing I want you to pay attention to when we are going through this election. What have they actually done? Okay? We can't listen to sound bites. We can't listen to what they're going to do, what they want to do, what they're doing right now. That doesn't count. What counts is what they have actually done, what experience we can see and we know about, and what receipts do they have. For example, think about throw it in the bag. This young lady is not, she's not an elected official. She's not running for a campaign. Her program has been around since 2000, or for 4 years. It's been around for 4 years. Ask her how many of the candidates that's showing up right now during this election season have been there throughout the 4 years. Ask her how many of them have showed up consistently within those 4 years, or if actually this election season was their first time showing up and volunteering. And then we got to be careful for those people who are showing up in their social butterflies and they're taking pictures. They're taking pictures and video footage, but they're not actually in the trenches doing the work. Okay? We have to make sure that our candidates aren't painting a beautiful picture for us with no substance. It's too easy during election time to start volunteering and showing up in places and acting like you care and cleaning up things. But if you've been here for a long time in the city of Columbus and that hasn't been your regular course of action or business, we see through that. We see through that. And if you don't see through that, that's exactly what I'm here for, is to help you see through that. Go back 4 years, throw it in the bag, has been around here in Columbus. And how many of these people who are showing up during election season have been consistent over those 4 years? She is well organized. It is done very much in excellence. I'm very proud of the work that she contributes to our community to help and support people who are getting paid and public works to keep our city clean. I'm very proud of the work that she's doing. But what's not okay is people jumping on the bandwagon for the work that she's done just for photo ops and just to say that they care about a community when, in fact, we know that's not the truth. All right? So, the next thing is receipts over rhetoric. And rhetoric is, things that people say, fluff, 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 fluff. We've got too many candidates who are running on fluff. There's no metrics. There's no KPIs. There's no, in 90 days, I'm going to do this, da, 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 da. There's nothing for us to hold them accountable to but fluff. And to be honest, we have some candidates who are actually bold enough to be lying and writing on their campaigns, right? And you can go on my page because I have highlighted it. You cannot say that you care about, cleaning up our city when you haven't cleaned up your district, when you haven't put in the effort to clean up your district. You can't say that. You can't say you care about people over politics when in fact you don't. And when you go on my page, you'll see the receipts. I just don't say things just to say it. You'll see the receipts. You'll see the highlights of the information where this, in fact, these things are not the truth. Okay? Let's see. People are asking for you to vote for them, you know, but we need to make sure that if they feel comfortable lying on paper, on social media, and putting things, you know, in black and white on paper, that they're going to lie to us in the office. Well, they're already lying to us in office. And so that's not a quality that we want in an elected official. Okay? So vet it and check it and make sure you are seeing what have they already done for your community. You can go outside in your community and you know, and you can see for yourself whether or not your district person has shown up for you the way that they should. So I get that everybody's busy. I get it. I'm busy. Everybody's busy. I get it. The difference is that when you sign up to serve people, you don't get to use that as an excuse. So if I was calling you because I wanted a sign for my yard, I would get a quick response. If I was calling you because I wanted to give you a donation for your campaign, oh, my emails and my phone calls are going to be returned quickly, immediately. That's the same type of action we want once you get in the seat. Is that you give citizens the excellence they deserve and the respect and the dignity they deserve. Taxpayers fund your positions. So for taxpayers and business owners, small business owners to have to come to city council to get your attention, that is so inappropriate. Very inappropriate. Have they shown up when it was not election season? Have you seen these people outside of election season? And I'm not talking about parades and parties and events. That's not serving people. I mean, it's serving them to have a good time, but that's not leadership. That's fixing problems in our communities. That's not the same. Okay, so social butterflies, that's not it. Hey, how you doing? In and I'm out and on to the next. That's not leadership. And I need us to pay attention to that. What have they fixed? What have they done that did not benefit them in some way? Okay. Leadership starts before a position is held. If they're not able to take initiative, work on issues and challenges outside of a position, then they're not what we're looking for. These people, leaders, don't need a title. They don't need positions to do the things that need to be done in the community. And we need to pay attention to that. We need to be very clear on that. They are going to demonstrate on a consistent basis their care and love for their community with or without a title, not because they're running for a position. Okay? And what you see is what you get. And that is the honest truth. If you haven't seen them up until now, when they get in that seat, you're not going to see them either. All right. The last thing I want you to ask is, what is their public service background? Okay? What experience do they have in public service, public administration? What I am seeing as an issue is that the city council, right, is supposed to be composed of different elements that bring strength to the body, right? So you have realtors, you have business owners, you have lawyers, you have, what else? I mean, prior police service, and I think that's it. I think that's the gist. Business owners, lawyers, prior military service, or not military service, I'm sorry, police service here in the city, brokers, realtors, right? So those are the people that we have on the board, that's what our board is composed of, right? So their expertise is supposed to contribute to the council as a whole and make things better. However, that's not what we're seeing, because a lot of them lack competence in many areas. And therefore, their oversight is reactive as opposed to proactive. So we need to pay attention to people who actually have experience in public administration and public service, because then they better know how to serve the people from a place of excellence, and they're not learning as they go and trying to figure things out as they go. And that's what we have, is reactive leadership versus proactive, competent leadership. When someone can tell me that their office has never had an SOP, and when they are looking for a reference as to why they do things a certain way, they have no idea, that is a shame. In 2025, that is unheard of. It is unreal. But that's what's going on in our city government. That's what our taxpayer dollars are paying for. Okay, so let me see. I'm looking at my notes, checking out my notes to make sure that I say everything I need to say. I think so. Yeah, I think I said everything I needed to say. And I'm going to say this too. Again, there's 2 mayoral candidates so far that I've had the opportunity to spoke to both of them. One of them did an interview. The other one did a video where she addressed, information that was made public on someone's page, right? Both of them, I did a review on their interview and this video. One of them lacked emotional intelligence, unfriended me, and then also erased the questions and did not answer the questions that I asked, okay? That is fine and dandy from a personal point of view. But if you are running for mayor, if you are running to serve the citizens of Columbus, that is not going to work. It's not going to work. And I'm telling you right now, I have been to these forums that they have at the Citizen Center and that they have at different various places here, at the library and in Columbus. You will be chewed up and spit out if you can't even answer basic questions without deflecting and, deleting and all that good stuff. It's not going to work, honey. It's not going to work. So it's not personal. None of the reviews or anything is personal. It is going to be based on facts. It's going to be based on the information that you share to educate people and to make sure that our citizens, our people are voting and with informed vote, that they understand what to look for, that they understand what's being done, because we cannot afford to play this election season. And again, it's not personal, but please understand that our expectation is that we get people in the seat who are emotionally intelligent. We don't want Crab in the seat in District 5. She lacks emotional intelligence. And she can't even hide it. She can't even hide the way she feels about certain people and certain things, which is a red flag. I know no one's perfect, and I know that we don't always have our ducks in a row. But when you are running to serve the city of Columbus, the second largest state here in Georgia, please make sure that you are ready for it, that you can answer the questions, and that you can stand on business when people disagree with you. It's people disagreeing with me all the time, all my whole life. Don't like what I say, what I do. Okay, it's all right. I haven't deleted anybody's post. I haven't hid anybody's post, and I haven't unfriended somebody because they disagreed or they asked me questions about something I posted. You posted the information. You shared it. I asked specific questions because you did not answer any of the questions. You did not deny the allegations. You said it was false and it wasn't true. But then you said there's going to be legal issues or what have you. So it was just all over the place and it was not clear. And I'm just telling you that once you get to the point where you start attending these forums, it's going to be even worse for you. So, I attended last year. It's a working families party, a training, or whatever it was. And they shared, not because I'm running for anybody's elected, because I don't care to do any of that, but I was invited to go and I went. But they shared that it takes 2 to 3 years to prepare to be successful for an election. Okay? So just to wake up one day and decide I'm going to run for mayor when you haven't did any public service whatsoever prior to now is crazy to me. It's delusional. Okay? Anything's possible, but that's not going to fly. And voters, I need us to pay attention to that. Okay? Have a wonderful evening, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Our call to action this prior week, was to shout out businesses celebrate businesses who were doing it right and call out those who were not. And so I think it's, we're going to try something different for this week, a different call to action for this week. So have a great evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Natalie Nicole. I will continue to share content and information on my page. Please take the time to read it. If you have questions, please let me know if you have questions. When I was stationed in Missouri, it was the first time I heard that if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book, right? And so I was told that, people don't read. And I get that. People don't read sometimes. But I need us to read. I need us to do our research. And I need us to be proactive in making sure that we vet the candidates that are coming before us, because we cannot afford to make a decision that is going to hurt us for the next 4 years for city council and for mayor. And we can't afford to make decisions that are going to hurt us either for our school board. So please, 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 it's not about friendship and popularity and cliques and sororities and organizations and things of that nature. And more important, that's why I always, mention that my perspective is objective. I don't have any family or friends in the government. I'm not a part of a sorority, and I'm not a part of any popular churches or organizations or anything like that. My perspective and what the information I'm sharing is objective and is fact-based, and that's it. And I hope that as a community, we will do our best to make informed decisions when we vote, okay? And I cannot express it enough. I don't care if these positions are nonpartisan. The people who will sit in those positions are human beings with values and morals and an alignment with the party. And we need to know exactly who they are and how they show up and how they have shown up historically. Have a great night, everybody.